Okay, so it seems like everyone's talking about social media and mental health these days.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
But it can be tough to sort through all the noise and
Well,
really understand what's going on, you know?
absolutely.
You sent me this article, How Social Media Impacts Mental Health, What You Need to Know. And it seems like a great place to start for this deep dive.
It's a good one. It covers a lot of ground.
I think what I'm most curious about is not just like the what, but the why.
Right.
Like why does scrolling through our feeds sometimes leave us feeling kind of crummy, and what can we actually do about it?
Those are the big questions.
For sure.
And it really starts, I think, by acknowledging just how deeply social media is embedded in our lives now.
Right.
Like think back even to the decade ago.
Yeah.
Spending hours online wasn't really the norm for most people. But now this article says people are spending an average of 5 hours a day on social media.
5 hours. Whoa.
That's crazy, right?
That's like a whole part-time job.
Yeah, basically.
But without the paycheck.
Haha. Exactly.
Okay, I'm a little afraid to even do the math on my own screen time.
I get it.
But it really makes you think, like how is all that time shaping us?
Yeah.
Not just, superficially, but like deep down on a psychological level.
Right. And that's where things get really interesting, I think.
Okay, so let's get into it.
One of the biggest concerns that the article highlights is the impact on self-esteem.
Makes sense.
We're constantly bombarded with these like curated picture-perfect versions of reality.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's always on vacation, looking amazing, achieving incredible things.
It's so true. And that's where I start to feel that like twinge of comparison,
Mhm.
Like, wait, why doesn't my life look like that?
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
The article actually mentions this example of a high school student who starts feeling inferior because their online world just doesn't match up to their friends' seemingly perfect lives.
It's such a common experience, especially for young people.
It is, and it makes me wonder, like, how much is this contributing to the rise in anxiety and depression that we're seeing?
It's definitely a factor, and it's something that researchers are really starting to dig into.
You know what it is? It's that social comparison trap.
Oh, absolutely. Social media is like a breeding ground for that.
It is. It's like this highlight reel playing on a loop 24/7.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes it so easy to forget that,
Yeah.
everyone has struggles, everyone has insecurities, even those people who seem to have it all online.
So true. The article talks about how this constant exposure to idealized images, especially for women, can lead to body image issues and unrealistic expectations.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, feeling a little bad every now and then.
Right.
This stuff has real consequences.
Yeah.
It can contribute to things like eating disorders and anxiety and depression.
It makes you wonder if it's possible to engage with social media in a way that's actually healthy.
I think it is, but it takes a lot of awareness and effort.
Right.
And I think it starts by understanding how these platforms are designed.
Oh, yeah, like those algorithms.
Exactly. They're designed to keep us hooked.
They really are. It's like they're tapping into some deep psychological vulnerability.
Oh, they're definitely using persuasive technology.
I'm just thinking about all the ways those algorithms are shaping my behavior, and it's a little unnerving.
It is when you really start to pay attention to it.
The article actually mentions this example of a college student who's constantly checking their phone, even during class,
Oh, wow.
and it's affecting their grades.
That's scary.
It is. It's scary to think about how these platforms can actually, like, rewire our brains.
It's not that different from other addictions. Oh, interesting. How so?
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
They figured out how to trigger our dopamine receptors. The same neurochemicals that are involved in things like gambling addiction or drug addiction.
So we're literally getting hooked on these apps.
In a way, yeah. It's a brilliant business model, but it can be really detrimental to our mental health.
Totally.
How?
So we've got self-esteem, we've got comparisons, and now this addictive element.
Right.
What other downsides do we need to be aware of? Well, something else that's become increasingly prevalent and unfortunately even easier to engage in online is cyberbullying.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's just so much easier to say and do things online that you would never dream of saying or doing to someone's face.
I think the anonymity emboldens people,
It definitely does. And the impact can be devastating,
especially for young people.
especially for young people whose sense of self is still developing.
Yeah.
The article actually shares this example of a high school student who's bullied online after posting a photo.
Oh, gosh, I can't even imagine.
It's heartbreaking.
The isolation, the humiliation, the feeling of being attacked by like a mob.
That's awful. And what's even more concerning is that cyberbullying doesn't just leave, emotional scars.
Oh, really?
It can actually, in some cases, lead to symptoms of complex trauma.
Wow. So it's like real trauma.
It is.
Yeah.
And it really emphasizes how important it is to be mindful of the power of our words and actions in the digital space.
For sure. Like, even if we think we're just making a harmless comment, we need to consider the potential consequences.
Absolutely.
Speaking of things that can have a real impact, we also have to talk about how screen time affects our sleep.
That's a big one.
It is. And, we've all experienced that blue light keeping us up way past our bedtime.
It's so hard to resist sometimes.
It is. It's like just one more scroll, one more video, one more comment,
Yeah,
and suddenly it's 2 a.m.
exactly.
The article paints this really vivid picture of someone lying in bed, phone in hand, losing sleep, and then suffering the consequences the next day.
Yeah.
Like impaired focus, decreased productivity, increased stress irritability. It's like a vicious cycle.
It is. And it's really important to understand the link between sleep and brain health,
I mean, we all know sleep is important,
Mm.
but how does it actually tie into all this?
Well, when we're sleep deprived, our stress hormones increase. And they can actually exacerbate all the negative mental health effects that we've been talking about.
So it's not just about being tired and cranky. It's actually putting our mental well-being at risk when we sacrifice sleep for social media.
That's right.
But even when we know we should put the phone down, there's this other force at play.
You're talking about FOMO,
Oh yeah, FOMO.
the fear of missing out.
It's like the ultimate social media trap.
It is. And it's fueled by that constant stream of everyone else's highlight reels.
Yeah. It's like a constant reminder that everyone else is having more fun than you,
Exactly.
even if it's not true.
And research has shown that FOMO is directly linked to increased anxiety.
Makes sense.
It can lead to compulsive social media checking.
Oh, totally. Which just feeds the cycle.
Exactly.
Oh, man. It's kind of bleak, isn't it?
Well, it's definitely important to be aware of the downsides,
For sure.
but it's not all doom and gloom.
Okay, good. I was hoping you were going to say that.
It's important to acknowledge that social media does have the potential for good.
Okay, good. I was hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah, it can be a source of connection and support, and it can even help reduce the stigma around mental health.
I'm glad you brought that up because the article talks about how valuable online support groups can be,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
especially for people who might feel isolated or misunderstood in their offline lives.
It's so true.
It's a place where they can share their experiences without judgment,
Yeah,
find community, and feel less alone.
it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And, from a psychological perspective,
Yeah.
these online communities can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
They offer a space for validation, understanding shared experiences,
Yeah.
which can be incredibly therapeutic and empowering.
It really is a reminder that social media can be a tool for good, for fostering connection and building resilience.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that balance. Yeah,
Like, how do we actually use these platforms in a way that enhances our lives rather than dominates them?
that's the million-dollar question.
Well, luckily, we've got 2 more parts of this deep dive to figure it out.
Exactly. We're just getting started.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready to move from awareness to action. What are some concrete steps that we can take to, reclaim our time and attention and well-being in this digital world?
Well, that's what we're going to dig into next. How to actually create a healthier relationship with social media.
I'm all ears.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so we've talked about all the challenges, all the things that can go wrong.
Right.
Now let's talk about solutions. Like, what can we actually do about it?
Yeah, let's get practical.
The article offers a bunch of steps that we can start taking today to,
Yeah.
improve our relationship with social media.
Totally.
But where do we even begin?
Well, I think the first step, and probably the most important one, is setting boundaries.
Okay, boundary.
It's so easy to just get sucked into that endless scroll,
Yeah.
But we have to consciously create some space between ourselves and that constant stream of information and stimulation.
Like giving our minds permission to breathe.
Exactly. Like not being on all the time.
But how do we actually do that? It feels like my phone is surgically attached to my hand.
I hear you.
Yeah.
The article really emphasizes limiting screen time.
Okay, screen time.
Even setting small goals at first can make a difference,
Right.
like reducing your daily usage by, even just 30 minutes.
Well, that's doable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And also pay attention to when you're engaging,
Okay.
like avoiding social media late at night.
Oh, the whole no screens before bed thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That can significantly improve your sleep quality.
I'll be honest, I'm terrible at that.
A lot of people are.
Yeah.
But think about it this way.
Okay.
That blue light that we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
It actually suppresses melatonin production,
Melatonin.
which is the hormone that regulates your sleep cycle.
Ah, interesting.
So even if you feel like you're relaxing by scrolling in bed,
Yeah.
you're actually making it harder to fall asleep and get restful sleep.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So like maybe charging my phone outside the bedroom.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
A lot of people find that helpful.
Okay, I'm gonna try that. What else besides like limiting time?
Another suggestion is to be more intentional about what you're consuming.
Ooh.
The article calls it curating your feed.
Okay, curating your feed. I like that.
It's basically unfollowing accounts that trigger negative comparisons or make you feel bad about yourself.
Okay. I definitely need to do some spring cleaning on my feed.
I think we all do.
I follow so many of those aspirational accounts that,
Yeah.
while beautiful, they just make me feel bad about my own life.
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
It is. But is it really as simple as like hitting unfollow?
It can be surprisingly effective.
Really?
Remember, you have control over what you allow into your digital space.
That's a good point.
So instead of following those triggering accounts,
Yeah.
seek out content that inspires you or educates you or makes you laugh.
Like choosing to nourish your mind with healthy food instead of junk food.
Exactly.
But old habits die hard. The article also talks about practicing mindfulness.
Right. Mindfulness.
I've heard that's helpful for like a million things.
It is. But how does that apply to social media?
Yeah, what does that even look like?
Well, mindfulness is about being present in the moment, right?
Mhm.
So in this context, it means being aware of why you're reaching for your phone. Before you unlock that screen and dive into the feed, pause for a second
Okay.
and ask yourself, like, what's my intention here?
There.
Am I bored, stressed, lonely?
Oh, all of the above sometimes.
Right?
Yeah.
Or do I genuinely want to connect with someone?
It's like putting a speed bump in your like automatic scrolling routine.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're setting boundaries. We're being more selective about what we consume.
Right.
What else can we do?
Well, the article makes a really important point that I think is crucial.
Okay.
Prioritize real-life connections.
Okay, real life connections. We hear that a lot.
We do. And for good reason.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in the online world and neglect those face-to-face interactions that really nourish us, you know?
It's that balance again, isn't it?
It is. It's about making sure that social media enhances our lives,
Right.
not replaces them.
But I'll be honest, sometimes it feels easier to connect online
Oh, yeah.
than to like put in the effort to see people in person.
I think we all feel that way sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, we live in a world where it's easier to send a quick text
Yeah.
than to pick up the phone and have a real conversation.
It's true. But you're saying we should prioritize those real conversations.
I am, because it's those shared experiences, those moments of genuine human connection
Yeah.
that truly contribute to our well-being.
So, like, maybe I need to schedule a coffee date with a friend
Exactly.
instead of just liking their latest posts.
There you go.
But what if we've tried all of this? Like,
Right.
we're making an effort,
Yeah.
but social media is still causing us distress.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
The article reminds us that if you find that social media use is interfering with your life, your relationships, your work, your mental health,
Yeah.
there's no shame in seeking professional help.
Therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Talking to a therapist or a counselor can provide really valuable guidance and support.
That's a good point. It's like any other health concern, right?
It is.
Sometimes we need an expert to help us figure out what's going on
Exactly.
and develop a plan for healing.
And it's also a good reminder that we're not alone in this, you know?
So true. So many people struggle with these same challenges.
Yeah.
And there are resources available to help us navigate this complex digital landscape.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
there's something I keep thinking about.
Okay, what's that?
Earlier, we talked about how the average person spends 5 hours a day on social media.
Oh, yeah, that's a crazy number.
It is. It's a staggering amount of time.
It makes you wonder, like, what could we be doing with those 5 hours
Right,
if
yeah.
we weren't glued to our screens?
Exactly.
What dreams could we be pursuing? What skills could we be learning? What adventures could we be having?
That question has been lingering with me all day.
It's a good one.
Imagine reclaiming those hours, those precious slivers of time,
Yeah.
and devoting them to something that truly nourishes your soul.
Wow, that's powerful.
What would that look like for you?
I don't even know. I'm kind of speechless.
It's a big question.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think it's the right question. It's not about demonizing social media.
Right.
It's about remembering that we have a choice.
Exactly.
We can choose to be more intentional with our time and attention.
Absolutely.
And that choice can lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful and connected life.
Couldn't agree more.
Both online and off.
Both online and off.
I love that. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to
Sure.
leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
What one small step will you take today to build a healthier relationship with social media?
Could be setting a time limit or unfollowing a few accounts.
Right?
Or being more mindful of your scrolling habits.
Yeah.
Or reaching out to a friend for a real-life connection.
Any of those things.
Any of those things. Every step, no matter how small, is a step towards reclaiming your time, your attention, and ultimately your well-being.
And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
We're all figuring this out together. One scroll, one post, one connection at a time.
I love that. It's wild, isn't it?
What's that?
Just how quickly social media has become like this essential part of life.
Oh, totally. It's like it happened overnight.
Yeah, like we were all just going about our business,
Uh-huh.
and then suddenly, bam.
Social media everywhere.
It's like we need a whole new vocabulary to describe this era.
We do. It's like the Industrial Revolution or the Information Age.
Right, like what do we even call this?
The social media age.
The connected age. The selfie age.
Uh-huh. Something like that.
It's a big deal, and that's why I think these conversations are so important.
They are. We need to keep questioning it, keep talking about it,
For sure.
and figure out how to navigate this world in a way that actually supports our well-being.
Exactly. Because let's face it, social media isn't going away.
Nope. It's here to stay.
It's woven into the fabric of our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get more complex and more pervasive.
Which means we have to evolve along with it.
We do. We need to develop a more critical lens,
Yeah.
a more discerning eye, and a more resilient sense of self.
If we want to actually thrive in this digital landscape,
It's essential.
it's almost like we need a whole new set of digital literacy skills.
true.
Not just for ourselves, but for like our kids and future generations.
Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
we need to be teaching young people how to navigate these platforms in a healthy way.
Yeah.
How to critically evaluate information, how to protect themselves.
Right. It's not about sheltering them from technology. It's
Yeah.
about empowering them to be like conscious creators and consumers.
Exactly. Not just passive recipients.
But where do we even begin? It feels kind of overwhelming.
Well, I think it starts with awareness. You know,
Okay, awareness.
the more we understand about the psychology of social media,
Yeah.
the more we understand how it impacts our thoughts and emotions and behaviors, the better equipped we'll be to make informed choices for ourselves and our kids.
It's like we need to become social media whisperers.
In a way. Yeah.
So it's not about like demonizing social media altogether.
Right.
It's about understanding its power,
Yes.
both the good and the bad.
The good and the bad.
And then using that knowledge to shape a digital experience that actually aligns with our values.
Absolutely. I love that. That brings us to a question that's been on my mind this whole time.
Okay, lay it on me.
What does the future hold for social media and mental health?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question.
It is. I mean, none of us has a crystal ball,
Right.
but it is fascinating to think about,
The possibility.
the
Yeah.
possibilities, both the exciting ones and the potentially concerning ones.
Yeah, I think the key is that we're having this conversation, that we're
Yeah.
asking these questions.
Uh.
The more we talk about it, the
Yeah.
more we share our experiences, the more we support each other,
Right.
the better chance we have of creating a digital future that's more humane,
Yes.
more mindful, more aligned with our values.
I love that vision.
Me too. And it's a reminder that we're not powerless in all of this. We have choices.
do.
We can choose to set boundaries, to curate our feeds,
Yes.
to prioritize real-life connections, to seek help when we need it,
Uh-huh.
to advocate for a more ethical and responsible digital landscape.
We can do all of those things. It's about reclaiming our agency,
Yes.
our attention, and our well-being in a world that's increasingly designed to distract us and keep us hooked.
I love that. It's not about rejecting technology.
Right.
It's about harnessing it for good.
Exactly.
And I really believe that as we become more aware of the challenges and the opportunities, we can collectively create a digital future that's more supportive, more connected, and more conducive to human flourishing.
It's a beautiful vision.
It is. It's a vision worth striving for.
A future where technology amplifies our humanity rather than diminishes it.
I love that. So as we sign off today,
Yep.
we'll leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
What small step will you take today to build a healthier, more fulfilling, more meaningful relationship with the digital world?
It could be anything you know.
It could?
Setting a new boundary and following a triggering account, reaching out to a friend,
Yeah.
or just taking a few deep breaths before you unlock that screen.
Taking a pause.
Exactly.
Ah,
Every choice matters.
every choice matters. And remember,
Yeah.
you are not alone on this journey.
We're all in this together.
We are.
Yeah.
We're all figuring this out together.
One scroll, one post, one connection at a time.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep exploring.
Keep exploring the world with curiosity, compassion, and an open mind.
I love it.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.